Hello, and welcome to Unfiltered Eat Better, Think Better series. This is where we get real about our emotions, mindset, connection to food, and healing, and what it really takes to break free and feel good in your body and life again. I'm your host, Janie Shah, and in this series, I sit down with everyday people who face challenges with their health, body, their mind, their confidence, or long held beliefs that have held them back and found powerful ways to rise and grow through it all. These are real stories, no filters, no fluff, just raw conversations about what they struggled with, what actually helped, and how they created transformation from the inside out. Whether you're on your own journey or just curious on what's possible, you're in the right place. Here's to eating better, thinking better, and living a phenomenal life. So let's go. Today we have an awesome guest. His name is Irfan, and I'm so glad that we get to have this conversation today. Hello. When we first met, actually, it was so random. We were connected through a client, and I'm just really glad that we met. But there's a couple of things that really struck me about you was your calm, sort of grounded presence, the way you look at health in a much wider lens than just physical fitness, and then little bits about your personal journey that you kind of shared with me from breaking many bones to navigating sports injuries, figuring out what makes a life fulfilling for you, and eventually finding your way into the world of personal training and using this sort of blue zones philosophy, which we can talk about later on. But really, a lot of it that stood out was about your physical resilience, the mindset behind it. And I can't wait to dive into this story about you sharing what it meant to step away from the expected path that we're meant to follow, like in the career that we're meant to follow, and redefining what happiness, success, and health means to you, and really choosing a life that aligns with who you are. So, thank you, Irfan, for being here with us today, and welcome. And I guess let's just dive right in, and maybe you can take us all the way back before we get into who you are and what you do today. Take us back to who Irfan was before all of this realization came about. What was the younger version of you trying to be, trying to follow, or trying to live up to?
Ooh, okay. Before I start, first of all, thank you for having me. Yeah, that conversation we had when we first met was electric. It was really nice. So thank you. But yeah, Irfan, if I could describe myself in a word, would be like perfectionist, you could say. Wanting everything to go a certain way. The younger Irfan was like, you need straight A's, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. So yeah, that was the kind of beginning of the journey. And then slowly as you go on to realize that this kind of perfectionism that you chase is impossible because life isn't about the like getting to be perfect, but it's like a continuous journey of chasing perfection, but enjoying the journey instead of enjoying the destination, you can say. So yeah, I would say that would be one word to describe it.
Yeah. And when you were younger, did you ever think you'd be doing what you are today, which is the training?
Absolutely
No.
no ways. No ways, no ways. When I was younger, I had a lot of dreams, which was a good thing.
Mhm.
I would think about like the standard, oh yeah, you want to save the world, be an engineer, make cool stuff. But
Yeah.
like one of my biggest dreams was playing professional sport, which
Okay.
came, which comes from a lot of things. Like I played a lot of sports growing up. My parents put me in a lot of extracurricular activities. I played golf, I played cricket, football, like you name it, rugby, anything that
Right.
was offered, I was there. I was the first person on the pitch, ready to play. Um, yeah, and I got the chance to play for various national teams as well, or be in the national setup of many teams from a young age. So like that passion for sport was always there.
Okay.
But I never thought it would be able, or I would be able to transfer it into a career or something I enjoy doing, every
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
So did you ever seriously consider pursuing professional sports as your
Oh,
career?
yes. Yes, yes, yes.
And then what happened? Did something change or did an injury get in the way?
I mean, I think a lot of things I'm grateful for as well that even stopped me and going on that journey. But like, so first of all, it's outside the traditional kind of route that that the community or the race follows, being an
Yeah.
Indian Muslim, uh, generally you wouldn't see people going down that route. So that was one of the reasons. But like around the time when I really wanted to go pro and I was really focusing on it, I had a really bad injury. We were playing against this big Swedish guys from Sweden, Swedish school, and it was like the first game of the season, home game. We were already, psyched for the season, and then this one humongous defender, uh, as we were playing, we had a small collision, and I partially tore my ACL. So which was like, it was. I remember the moment. I wasn't painful. The injury wasn't painful. The pain was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to play for a while. Because when you look down at your leg and you see your leg and you're like, the kneecap is slightly moved and you're looking at like a hole in your leg and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? Yeah, so that happened. Um, and at that time, I did go for physio and these kind of things, but I didn't really have a support system per se to help me recover and then go through rehab to get the knee back to where it was. So, I mean, you can ask so many teachers at school, they would try stop me from going on the pitch because I would be in my two crutches, the brace on my leg, and I'd be running onto the field, lunchtime, PE time, in my PE kit, like still trying to play, making sure like I can be on the pitch. But yeah, I wish I did have that guidance then,
Mm.
through injury. But definitely injury was one of the factors that played into
Yeah.
pursuing the route.
For sharing. Yeah, I totally relate to that as well. I mean, coming from an Indian background as well, the traditional routes to follow, doctor, engineer, lawyer, which I happened to be. I was a lawyer before.
Yeah.
That was totally out of choice, though, actually. I really did. I really wanted to be a lawyer. But,
Mm.
I feel like this is something so many people probably silently wrestle with in their mind about, this is the expectation, this is kind of the career path we need to be taking. And you've broken free from that. I not broke free, but I changed course many, many years later, totally
Yeah.
out of choice. But, you broke that from very, very early on. And maybe you could talk us through a little bit about that. What was that season like for you when you started pursuing something that you knew, this wasn't really what you wanted to do?
Ooh, that's a fun story. First of all, shout out to the lawyers and the doctors. You guys do
Yes.
an amazing job. But yeah, so that year was around 2019. So you can say this, that perfectionist kind of route. I had kind of I fell in love so much with sport that I decided that academics, I wasn't going to focus on any academics. I basically was rebellious, you can say, to academics. Um, so like I had a very fruitful, and I'm thankful for the journey all the way up to that moment where like my parents were a huge support, making sure I was performing well in school and doing well all around. But at that time, this was like around A levels time. I was like, no, man, this is not my route. I can't sit studying the whole day, looking at a book and reading and cramming this knowledge, not learning or applying any of this knowledge in my life because like, where am I going to really apply these concepts? It's only in the outside world that you can. And I wish that schools could see that the application is so much, oh, as important as the theory. But yeah, so that kind of journey through A levels. Now, A levels was difficult for everyone, whether you were smart, not smart. It was hard work. So that journey took me to the end of A levels, and that's when like life hit me a little bit because I didn't do well. Um, I was like, oh, like what went wrong? I didn't see it at the time that I hadn't studied, but like, I was like, what went wrong? Everything was going well, and then suddenly, like, it hits you. You perform badly. Now you can't go to uni, or you can't go to the uni that you want to. But thankfully, somehow, I ended up. applying for engineering, which I didn't really want to. Um,
Yeah.
and I started engineering in 2019, just before the year before COVID. So,
Yeah.
the standard fly away to the UK, study your
Yeah.
course, and like midway through like March 2020. I was feeling like extremely homesick. I had started the course, like it was fun to an extent, like meeting different cultures, exploring different people and speaking to different people as well.
Mm.
But like the course knowledge wasn't so exciting for me. And in March, I felt like I was feeling really homesick and decided to fly back home. I flew
Yeah.
back home, and 2 weeks later it was COVID, so I couldn't fly back. And I just ended up doing my course, shifting the whole course online. And that year went through. And towards the end of the year, I was feeling so like demotivated because I was 9 a.m. I was waking up like really early, like 7. I start my work from 8. Classes start at 9. They go on till like 7 p.m. And then I was doing more work because I had to catch up. And
Yeah.
so it's like an endless cycle of like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or
And was
7
that
a.m.
still around engineering?
Still around engineering.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and then that later that year, I met my wife to be,
Mhm.
and kind of took inspiration from her, and from that to actually do what I want to do or do what I enjoy in life. So I had a big chat with my parents, and they understood it because they had seen the intensity of it through those months, and
Yeah.
uh, and then I just that was like it was like a switch that flipped, and I decided to change course, and I started pursuing a career in sports health and exercise science. And again,
Okay.
like I applied to uni, got in. It was like really exciting process, and yeah, that's where it started.
Wow. And so you always had it in your mind that you were going to do something sports related.
Yeah,
Like that's what
definitely.
you wanted to do.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And sometimes I guess we really have to go through something and realize how much we don't want something to know how much we want the other thing.
So true.
Yeah, okay. And I want to say, I love how grateful you are because in every sort of step that we've talked about, there's always so much gratitude for the past or gratitude for the things that you've gone through. Even though at the time they seem painful,
Yeah.
hindsight is a beautiful thing because something always comes out of it. Which
Hmm.
reminds me of something, if you've not watched this, there's something called the hindsight window. And
Ooh.
it's a really great perspective and talk on how can we, in the moment of something that feels horrible, in the moment of something that feels so challenging, like this is not going to be something good, how can we actually just switch the lens and be like, you know what, in hindsight, I know I'm going to be grateful about this. So how can I bring that to the present, to the now, through the challenging thing you're going through? So you reduce that sort of hindsight window and
Yeah.
it lets you be a lot more present and just, things don't get to you as much anymore. So that was a total side mention, but yeah, I love how grateful you are for that. So I want to talk about a little bit about the injuries and the resilience of what you've gone through. You've said that you've broken bones so many times, or like pretty much any part of your body has had some kind of injury. And each time
Yes.
you kind of came back, right? You didn't just sit on your back and be like, whatever. You spoke about in school when you even had your crutches and were trying to get back on.
Mhm.
What do you think those injuries taught you about yourself, or about your identity and how you approach life now?
Ooh. So the injuries, I mean, at the time, I mean, like thinking about it now, at the time, I didn't think about them so much, but like now that I reflect on all that happened, like I'm so happy that I went through them because I wouldn't be who I am today without those going through those moments in life. And like, yeah, just before I speak about the injuries, the point you mentioned is so interesting, like the hindsight kind of window.
Mhm.
And like it reminds me, so like my life has been really faith-based. I'm a Muslim, and like it's been such a big part of the journey as well because there's like so many instances in religion where it tells you about like w- along with your hardship comes ease, or like, for example, the li life is a journey of always going through challenges. If you're not going through challenges, then like there's no point of life. So from that, or from looking at life like that, for me, it's like every injury I went through or every hardship I go through, it's actually not something that I look and I'm like, oh, why is this happening to me? It's like, oh yeah, like bring it on, you know? Like let life hit me, let life do whatever it wants, but I want to be there to enjoy every single bit of it, regardless of whether it's seen as bad or good, you know? So the injuries were definitely one of those things where um, I fractured my skull, I fractured my nose, I've dislocated my shoulders, I've fractured a rib, I've torn both my ACLs, I've
What?
torn ligaments in my ankles, you name it. Like just last week, I don't know how, I was fixing something and like a hook went into my thumb and I
My God.
dislocated my thumb.
What?
Um, so yeah, these injuries, like as much as they pain in the moment, they're an opportunity for reflection and like deep reflection, where you see that, like you were saying before, that when you don't have health is when you appreciate health. But
Mm,
when you're healthy, you think that you've got like 100 problems on your mind, or you've got like, I need to sort this, I need to sort that. But then you become sick, and then the only thing you focus on is getting healthy, right? And the same thing with the injuries. When you're not injured, you don't appreciate being not injured. But when you get injured, you appreciate what it is to be like when you're injured. Like you can't brush your teeth with the same hand, you can't
yeah.
eat with the same hand. You know, those kind of things give you perspective in life, because you imagine the people who don't have that on a daily basis, not by choice, but maybe someone who's blind, or someone who can't hear, or someone who's lost a limb. And you tend to appreciate a lot of the things in life more and deeply as well.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Where do you think you've sort of cultivated this way of looking at life or this mindset?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, so many things. I think life in general, but I'd say sport plays a big part, because when you're in that kind of high pressure, high intensity environment, you learn to become composed or calm and make decisions within seconds and not regret those decisions. And the same applies to life, you know. You sometimes it's nice to, not sometimes, actually all the time, whenever you're faced with something, just slow down, you know, look at it head on and make a decision and back yourself with that decision. Um, so that's one of the things. Sports definitely created that mindset. The other thing um, is religion, definitely having faith as a part of me, or as me, like is a big thing that contributes to that mindset. Because it's not about thinking about like what's happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. It's like what's happening now. Like your future isn't guaranteed, right? Your past is past. You can't do anything about it. It's literally called past. It's past you, you know?
Yeah.
But then you have the present, and you know, Kung Fu Panda. Have you watched the movie Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah.
And like he says this really cool quote. I think it was Master Oogway, the turtle guy. And he's like, he talks about the present, and he says, why is like the present called the present? It's because it's a gift, right? Like now is a gift for us. Like to live in this moment, you're never gonna get it again, because you have like my mind goes to this thing I was listening to, and about time being a currency, right? Or money being a currency, but like, what's the most valuable currency that we have in life? And for me, the most valuable currency you have is your attention. You know, where do you focus? Where do you focus your attention on? Like, are you going to focus when something bad happens to you, are you going to focus on the sitting and the complaining? Or are you going to focus on getting over that challenge and literally paying attention? You're literally like we have to pay attention. It's not like pay money, pay attention. You have to pay attention to what you're facing and kind of be present in that moment for you to be able to overcome it. So yeah, the mindset comes from there definitely. And more recently, um, working in the field of health and exercise and nutrition. Um, that's where the blue zones came in. And yeah, I named my company after the blue zones because it represents so much of the thoughts that I have and the thoughts I really want to pass on to people.
Mhm.
Um, but before we go into blue zones, you've just reminded me of something that really also contributes to this mindset is growing up, I had a really I'm so grateful again for these opportunities that I got to go and experience different cultures and different people around the world. You know, I've gone to loads of places, and in every place you learn the people. It's not the place, it's the people that make the place, you know. So each place I've gone to, I've been able to absorb and take from them what works for them in their life and try to implement it in my life and hopefully inspire others to implement it in theirs. So yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I really resonate with that. I think whenever you have an opportunity to be able to travel or to just expose yourself to different things, it really can help cultivate this sort of different mindset because you're exposed to so many different ways of thinking, different ways of doing things, different cultures, different ways. I mean, there's actually, I don't know if it's in South America somewhere where in their vocabulary, they don't have a word for sad or depressed. They just don't have that word. And it's really interesting because they don't have that word, they don't actually experience what we call the emotion sadness that much because it's just not in their dictionary per se. So yeah, that exposure is really helpful. It's really beneficial. It doesn't mean you have to go travel the whole world. I mean, even in the country that you live in, just go look and find different things that would be outside of your comfort zone. Go have a look at all of that. So yeah, I love this. And if you don't mind sharing this, how old are you?
I am 24.
Yeah, and I wanted you to see that because it is insane. When we're having this conversation, I guarantee you so many people would have been like, I don't know. You seem very young, but just what you've shared, the wisdom that you've shared, the mind strongness, if I can call it that, that you've shared, it's just I really admire it for a 24-year-old to come into this conversation with this sort of outlook on life. I am inspired. And so I wanted you to share that because we could all learn from that sort of outlook and way of moving forward in life. It's a lot harder to practice. I mean, I keep telling myself, let's shorten that hindsight window, let's be present. It's a lot
Yeah.
harder to practice, but the more you practice, the more it can become your everyday way of being. And so I even in that first chat and conversation that we had, I was just like, it's infectious. I love it. Like the more time I spend with you, the more I can just get more of that and be in that way of being. So yeah, thank you. Do you ever have
Thank
moments of doubt or yeah, let's put it that way.
doubt. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if if you don't have those moments, then you wouldn't realize how precious the moments that you don't have doubt are. So yeah,
Mm.
doubt's definitely there. You have these times when you kind of think like, um, am I going in the right direction? Like, is what I'm doing today going to help what I'm going to be in the future? Am I making enough money? Like money is super important as well. Taking care of your family, taking care of your parents, your wife, kids to be. Definitely the worries are there. The doubt does creep in sometimes. But then again,
Yeah.
it's like I describe it in my head as like a sine graph. So this is where the engineering is applied. Sine graph.
Okay.
Um, but like a sine graph that never goes. never goes lower than the highest point, right? Or the lowest point, rather. So it's like it goes up, then it comes down just a little bit, and then it goes up again, and it comes down a little bit and goes up again. And that's like the journey of life, right? You have a beautiful, like, few sets of months where everything is working, and then you're hit with a challenge, and you have a choice in that moment to either let the challenge take you lower than the lowest point you were at, or use the challenge to equip you with even more skills to be able to go further than the highest point you were at. So yeah, doubt's
Yeah.
definitely there.
Yeah, I love that. You know, that was going to bring me to my next question of this. It seems like this core belief that you have is that life is designed to challenge us because you're always like, throw it at me, bring it on. And I can tell by what you're sharing is that it's really shaped the way that you handle adversity as well. If there's an example you could share, is there a moment where you can share that that belief has really carried you through and helped you through it?
Ooh, that is a serious question. A moment that it's helped me through. I don't want to say the injuries because we've spoken about the injuries. Um,
I guess they did help you
I
there.
think it did. Yeah, it did. I think a good moment is um it's a bit general, but very applicable to the scenario, situation. I had those years where I felt like I was a rebel in life, to education. I had like I also struggled a lot with maintaining like my faith practices in my faith. And during that time, that's when I was like, oh my God, like, what's the point of following religion, or what's the point of doing things in life? And like, why do you always have to go through challenges to be able to become better? Like, I was like, what is the point, really? And like for 1 or 2 years, I was just so negligent to do the things that I enjoyed and the things that I was enjoying, or speaking to God, or speaking to having that personal kind of intimate relationship with God that it's meant to be like. And following these kind of religious practices, I fell out of it. And at that time it was like, so now going towards the end of A levels, when everything started to like show itself, it was like, oh my God, like I actually went through all that. And at that time I thought that I wasn't being faithful by not practicing. But in fact, the challenge or the adversity was part of the faith, right? It was part of you improving yourself. It was part of me improving myself. If I hadn't gone through such a challenge like that in my life, I don't know if I'd have been able to go through other challenges in my life. So kind of that period of life gave me that outlook to be able to see that life isn't, as cliche as it sounds, life isn't always butterflies and rainbows, because life like that doesn't exist, right? But but you have the opportunity to treat life like that, to treat life like it's rainbows and butterflies, regardless of what happens. So in that moment when I was losing my faith, it wasn't losing faith, it was an opportunity for me to reflect life without that faith, and see that life without that faith actually isn't that amazing, you know? And then after that, you kind of have this kind of awakening moment, or like a light bulb moment, where you realize that not having that thing with you actually made you realize the importance of it more. So you have these moments again, like in life, that you go through, that where you something is taken away from you, and you have that period where you feel like, oh my God, like what is happening in my life? But then the mindset helps you look at that and face that problem and treat it as something that could get you better in life.
Yeah, 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 that's beautiful and really powerful as well when you think about it. It's like in all the examples or analogies that you've given, when you realize you don't have something, like for example, the injury, when you lose the mobility, let's say, of your hand, that's
Hmm.
when you really appreciate, oh my goodness, this is how much I used to do with this hand. And so it's a really great reflection tool. And now that you've shared this, we don't need to go through this in order to experience it, but we can start thinking about it and applying it now before we have to lose something. So for someone listening who feels stuck on a path that they didn't choose, or maybe who keeps getting knocked down by life, what's the first small step you tell them to take toward living more intentionally?
You literally named the first step. It's a small first step. I think the thing that we lose is we we think that we think that everything has to be instant. Like, okay, I want to change today. We think by tomorrow I'll have changed. Like that's it. But life doesn't work like that, unfortunately. It's a process. Take a small step, right? If that step is you wanting to feel better in your day-to-day life, um, start exercising, even if it's 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes a day. Start implementing these really tiny habits, like micro habits in your life that will eventually lead to you being able to take on bigger tasks and bigger challenges. You read like Atomic Habits, and it's a really cool book. And you see that. Right.
Sorry, we lost you there. So you're talking about atomic habits.
Oh yeah, so Atomic Habits. Everything in the book is about like small, consistent changes. And it leads me back to think about um, it leads me to think about these small changes. For example, if you did 10,000 steps a day, right? Uh, in a year, you could have done 75 marathons or something like that. But when you look at it like that, you're like, what? I did 75 marathons in a year just by doing 10,000 steps a day. So yeah, it's just like that 1% shift every day leads to bigger results in the future rather than trying something immediate and wanting the change to happen tomorrow. So yeah, my advice or suggestion would be just start small. If it's your eating, start small. If it's your exercising, start small. It's how you feel. Start doing things that you enjoy. Go out for a walk, be in touch with nature. And like I, one thing like that really sticks out in my mind and for people nowadays is this beautiful device. Um, as helpful as it is to help people connect, to help us, be connected with family, with friends, and loads of other stuff. Can away from us or from humans, the ability to enjoy life truly. Every single moment it buzzes in our pocket. It's like, oh, whose message or what's happening? Or every time we're bored, we don't want to appreciate or feel the boredom. We want to pick our phone and scroll or do something like that. But true life is, taking that moment of boredom and looking at it in the face and being like, okay, I'm bored, but what can I do with that boredom? And you realize when you sit away from this device or any device and just sit and feel boredom, you realize loads of thoughts crossing through your head. And you can write them down. You can write those thoughts down, or you can just let those thoughts pass you and evade you. And you address each and every thought in your mind. And then soon after, like 10, 15 minutes, you realize that now your brain is in this, or your mind is in this zone where great ideas are bubbling and things that you want to do in life are starting to appear, and your true internal feelings are slowly coming out. And then you go into this flow state, after 15 minutes where then you start a task or you're doing a task and you suddenly feel so deeply involved in that task and you wonder why that kind of deep thinking or that pensive state that humans have always been known to have in the past to create and invent and do cool things with life is gone. Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
it's definitely because of having these in our pocket.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with you. We've lost the art of boredom. Like, we don't know how to be bored anymore, more so for kids these days. They just don't know how to be bored. They're so overstimulated, always having to do something, do something, do something. But sometimes we just need to be bored. Just be and be bored. It's okay to be bored. It's actually natural, it's essential, it's necessary. So, yeah, give
Mhm.
yourself that opportunity to be bored. And it can feel scary at times. You could be like, oh my gosh, but I don't know what. Let yourself do it because so many good things can come out of just being bored. Yeah, definitely creativity comes out. So, before we wrap up, I would love for you to share a little bit about you are now doing what you love, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But maybe share a little bit about what it is that you do now.
Nice. Okay. Um, so I have a I don't know why I don't like to say it and call it a company, but well, we can call it a consultancy.
Right.
I have a fitness consult. It's called Blue Zone Wellness, and the name is kind of the inspiration behind it, but a lot of other things, um, definitely. So I basically do general fitness. I started working mainly with athletes because that's what I was doing mainly in uni. But now I'm moving into the general population, um, and yeah, working on fitness, on nutrition, on the mindset, on how you can use these things to improve your life, and overall, like the thought or the mindset behind it is just enjoy, like enjoy your life,
Yeah.
enjoy every single moment because you're never going to get it back. So you rather enjoy it than do anything else with it. So yeah, the inspiration behind it, blue zones, is these zones around the world, called blue zones, where people have, or the average population has lived more than 100 years, and not only lived, but lived well. They
Right.
call it longevity, or vitality.
Yeah.
Living
I
without
think
the.
that's a big distinction actually just to make is because you can live to 100, but if your last 10 years are just in a hospital bed,
Hmm.
that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who've lived to 100 but are still walking around, they're still doing their own shopping, they're independent, they can get on and off the toilet themselves. That's kind of what we're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I remember like reading through this article about the blue zone, and it talks about this group of people who are walking up and down hills at the age of 104 to go and
Wow.
pick their food, or to go and get or go to like meet their friends, and all of them are walking and going to meet and then taking a walk through or enjoying themselves and just enjoying again.
Joy. I remember that being such a common
Like the
word
word
when we had
keeps.
coffee. It was always about enjoy.
Yeah. Yes, yes, 100%.
Okay.
And yeah, definitely that kind of concept. So the Blue Zones have these nine kind of pillars. And I took or I borrowed five of them, to hopefully implement in people's
Mhm.
lives. And that's like the way you move, the what you eat and how you eat, the kind of community feeling, the way you think, and the way you sleep. Um, and how can these things lead you to feel better in your life?
Yeah.
And along with that came Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdal. I don't know if you've seen him on YouTube, but he he wrote this book called Feel Good Productivity. And I watched a lot of his videos over the past. I've watched a lot of his videos over the past few years, mainly the ones where he talks about like being productive and how to enjoy. I got his book, I read through his book, and you have these
Yeah.
kind of small systems that you can implement in your life for you to feel like that. And I want to be able to share that with everyone. I want everyone to enjoy their lives. I want them to feel like waking up the next day and smacking the day head on and enjoying whatever they do, and also breaking out of that cycle of feeling like you have to do a 9 to 5 or you have to be in a certain framework of jobs or life for you to be accepted by society. And the thing is, like, why would, okay, this is faith-based again. Why would God create 8 billion of the same types of people? Like, what's the point, right? Everyone should be different. Everyone should have something that makes them them, right? And
Yeah,
I just want to be able to facilitate that and get people thinking about who they really are and who they truly want to be, and then
yeah,
enjoying the journey on the way as
amazing. So, if someone wanted to know more about you or Blue Zone Wellness, how can they find you?
well. Ooh, I can't say where I live, but uh,
Yeah,
but yes, online, Instagram. I'm not so active, but I will definitely reply. BLZN.wellness. That's me on Instagram. My link tree's up there as well. It has my WhatsApp number, my email, has the form to get started as well. And yeah, hopefully I'll be more active on that side of things, posting content and hopefully getting people to learn new things and inspire, hopefully inspire them as well. So yeah, that's me.
awesome. Well, Irfan, thanks so much. We're going to end the conversation with a question that I ask all the guests. But first, I just want to say thank you for sharing all this amazing knowledge and wisdom and the positivity and outlook on life. It's really given me something to think about today as well. And I'm sure all the listeners have definitely taken something away today. So, the question that I love to ask everyone is, if healing had a voice, what do you think it would say to you today?
The word that comes to mind is enjoy. Um,
I some reason why did I know that you were going to say that? Enjoy.
just enjoy the process. Like, don't worry about where you're going. Like, where you're going doesn't even matter, to be honest. Like, you might have a rough end goal, but if you don't have or enjoy that process of you getting there, when you get there, it won't feel like anything. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I did it. Um, but then what? Like, where do you keep going? So kind of that destination always changes. So just enjoy the process of getting to that destination. Looking at the trees around you, looking at the small um, bird flying across your car, and being like, oh, that's what life's about. Life's about enjoying those really tiny moments where life passes you and gives you these really cool tiny things like a bird flying past your car. And enjoy that moment. Enjoy like the beauty of the bird or the sound that it makes or the sound that the trees are making and the wind rustling through the trees and the sun in the sky and the blue sky and just enjoying those really tiny moments. And hopefully that enjoyment will lead you to an even better destination than you thought you were going to get to.
Yeah, love
Mhm.
it. Love it. Thank you so much. And for everybody who's listening, if this conversation resonated with you, helped you, or made you feel seen, please be sure to hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And come join our free Facebook community. It's called Eat Better, Think Better. It's where these conversations continue and where you'll find real people walking the same path. And if you're ready to go deeper on your own journey, whether it's healing your relationship with food, shifting your mindset, or breaking free from beliefs that are holding you back, you'll find more support, resources, and ways to work with me at www.eatbetterthinkbetter.com. So until next time, here's to eating better, thinking better, and living a phenomenal life. Let's go.